Ho, 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 and welcome. I'm Chelsea Schwartz.
I'm Yael Teagle.
And this is Streaming Wars, the show that helps you wade through an endless sea of streaming content. And we are here today to tell you about all of the holiday content. Well, maybe not all of it, because there is so much holiday content, but a very large portion of it. And if you missed it, we had a smaller show a couple weeks ago where we actually talked about some big hits of this year already, like a Jingle Jangle, A Christmas Journey on Netflix, which I still think is the strongest contender of this year so far. It is absolutely a musical spectacular with just, it's wondrous and magical. And if you haven't seen it yet, visit Netflix. Also, we talk about Dash and Lily on that show, which is another series on Netflix I think is worth watching.
Yeah, there is a lot of holiday content, and Chelsea has seen it all. I have seen some of it because Chelsea's making me.
Oh, you like it a little bit.
Yes, that's true. There are some that I think stand out above the rest. And I think that we should be continuing to make quality holiday content, not just holiday content for the sake of holiday content.
Absolutely. And there is some holiday content that has missed the mark this year. We're not going to spend too much time talking about what not to watch because there's so many good things to watch. But if we're not talking about it, you might not need to watch it. So we're also going to change the format for the show a little bit, and Yael and I are going to do a little bit more of like a review style. So let's get into it. Our first movie up, Midnight in Magnolia. This is on Netflix. This is your classic rom-com set at Christmas time. It is a better quality than a Hallmark movie. I was like, which I really appreciate. Like Netflix seems to take the Hallmark formula and one-up it to just make it a little bit more palatable. Have you watched it yet?
I haven't because I'm such a Grinch about Hallmark holiday movies. And this one really did feel like we were looking at another one of those. And I get what you're saying that they elevate it because I do agree. I think they really do. I just don't think we need to take that formula and do anything with it. Let Hallmark do that and let Netflix do what Netflix does.
Okay, that's fair. Midnight in Magnolia is about a best friend group that, so a guy and a girl, they are radio hosts. They've known each other their entire lives. Their dads are in business together, and they eventually realize that they're in love. And it's a very cute story that takes you through New Year's Eve. So if you're looking for a cute little rom-com, I give it a 8 out of 10.
Wow. High praise.
Yeah. Next up on our list, Lego Star Wars Holiday Special. Now, before we get into thoughts about this, I feel like we should preface our audience and let them know how we both personally interact and feel about Star Wars as a franchise.
Sure. I acknowledge, accept, and welcome Star Wars into existence. That said, not a huge Star Wars fan, not going crazy about it. I do like the Lego stuff. I am a big fan of Lego content. I think that's a fun medium to put things in. And I do love the idea that we're doing a Lego Star Wars holiday special because there is such a, like, I want to say fond memory, but mostly a like, really that happened memory to the original holiday special. So I think it's great that we're doing this.
Yeah. On my point of view, I'm a giant nerd. Everyone knows this. So you would think being a giant nerd that you're automatically a Star Wars person. I am not. I have seen everything Star Wars has put out. So maybe I'm a casual fan in some way because maybe I'm trying to find what it is I really like about it. I will tell you that I love Ewoks. I love Jar Jar Binks, and please feel free to just rag me for that if you'd like to. I was like, and the Mandalorian series is probably the first thing I've ever truly loved. There's not one piece of that series that I don't think is perfect because, I mean, look at this guy. How cute is Baby Yoda? Especially last week's episode where he's eating macaroons, and now there's like designer macaroons for Star Wars that have been released. But so I have things I like about Star Wars, but I'm not like, I need a lightsaber and I'm going to join the Force and whatever it is. I mean, personally, I'm a Schwartz, so I'm always going to be on that side of it anyway. With that said, in terms of Lego, I hate the Lego movies.
Oh, wow.
There's not one Lego movie I have ever liked. I absolutely love the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special. It might be my favorite thing Star Wars has ever done.
Wow, you're shouting fighting words everywhere here today.
Yep. Bring it on, people. Bring it on. Let's go.
I loved the first and second Lego movie. I think that it's a really fun way to tell a story, and I think that this is a really fun way to merge two franchises and two, fandoms in a way that feels right and organic and natural. So big supporter of this. Big supporter.
Awesome. For me, I think the humor for Lego is kind of that sophomoric humor that I never really find funny. I started watching the holiday special. I got about 15 minutes into it and I was like, oh my God, this is just fan service. They're taking everything anyone's ever really loved from every part of Star Wars and making a Lego version for this special. And I was kind of just like, really? Is this what's happening here? But then the storyline started to come together, and the humor, being a casual Star Wars person, them making fun of the universe was amazing. And I couldn't believe that Star Wars actually allowed for this to happen. I was laughing. They even found a way to bring the Mandalorian and the child into it. I was like that. Like literally, there was porgs, there were Ewoks. They mentioned Jar Jar Binks. They don't show him. He's probably the only character that is not shown, which probably makes most of the Star Wars franchise fans happy. But he's at least mentioned. I thought it was a strange choice that they didn't use all of the original voices. There's like 3 or 4 people that portray themselves, and then everything else is other voice talent, which I thought was very interesting.
I just assume that it's due to time and scheduling, or money. It's either scheduling or money. And I think that those are fair reasons not to do something.
Absolutely. But I recommend this holiday special. I didn't expect to recommend it. So there you guys go. Next up on our list, Elf on the Shelf. This is the beginning. Talked about this a few weeks ago, of Netflix creating a whole plethora. It's a great word. Plethora of Elf on the Shelf content. They're not only just doing Elf on the Shelf, they're doing Elf Pets. There's cartoons. I hear that there's a movie coming. There's all sorts of stuff. Right now, they've got 2 30-minute cartoons on Netflix. And it really brings the story of what Elf on the Shelf is to an animation in a way that, like, I appreciate. Like, I always found the Elf on the Shelves to be quite creepy. And I actually really like the Elf Pet short with the Arctic foxes. It's really cute.
I'm not a fan of Elf on the Shelf as a concept. I'm also not a fan of the Jewish adaptation, The Mensch on the Bench. I don't like any of these. I'm not a fan. That said, I do like a cartoon. I do like a kids project for kids. So there's positive to it. It's not for me. It's not for me and it's not for me. So I will say that if you have a kid and they are not terrified by Elf on a Shelf, then yes, check it out.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the concept initially of Elf on the Shelf of like something that's watching you all the time. Like, it's like, hello, big brother, what's going on? But in the cartoon, it was like, I didn't really understand that this elf was supposed to be like reporting back to Santa with like your holiday wish list. And I was like, that's kind of cute. Like, where do you mail a letter to Santa? As a child, a very young child, I understood that you could not physically mail a letter to the North Pole. That was not a thing you could do, even though people did it. I was like, that's not real. I was like, but for some reason, an elf that can come alive at nighttime and report back to Santa, that kind of matches Toy Story for me. Like, I like to believe my toys were real.
Right. I don't like the idea of sentient things alive in my room while I'm sleeping.
Fair enough. All right, let's move on to The Princess Switch, Switched Again. This is another title from Netflix. This is the sequel to the first Princess Switch movie, starring Vanessa Hudgens. This movie was interesting. I very much liked the first one. I was very excited for the second one. I was in it. Like, 25 minutes. It goes to some really weird, dramatic, unnecessary place that I literally turned the movie off and walked away for 24 hours.
Wow.
And then I finally was like, nope, you got to finish it. I came back really glad I finished it because it resolves through that. It takes a while to get there. It's uncomfortable, but I like where it went.
I really like this Princess Switch idea and story and universe. I personally wish it wasn't a Christmas movie. I think it's such a fun concept and such a fun, idea of doppelgangers. And I like the Parent Trap. Like, I love when twins switch. I personally think it could have been done any time of year and would have been still a fun adventure.
Yeah, I definitely, and I especially love the idea that it's like the average Joe and this royal princess getting to switch, but then she finds true love, because I'm a sucker for those kinds of stories. What was really interesting, though, about this movie was that there's been hints and tidbits and Easter eggs of other Netflix movies, especially ones that get these sequels or, trilogies, appearing in all of the other Netflix holiday movies. And apparently, I just assumed, after seeing our king and queen from Aldovia appear at the end of The Princess Switched Again, that we're building a holiday movie cinematic universe. And then Netflix a couple days later tweeted all about it. So this is real, guys. We are getting a holiday movie cinematic universe. As a giant Marvel fan and loving the MCU, this is the type of cinematic universe that I needed in 2020.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's fun. I think it is a great way to tie everything together. I love when things are connected. Again, Marvel's a good example. The CW verse, I'm a big fan of that as well. I love when things are connected. This is cool. This is a very cool idea. I'm just saying it didn't have to be holiday.
But it did, though.
Fine.
As I sit here in full coziness and you wear a Grinch shirt, but it's also really interesting because Aldovia is mentioned in The Night Before Christmas as being a real place. And The Night Before Christmas is one of my all-time favorite holiday movies, which is weird to say because it only came out last year. There was a point, I'm just going to put it out there, feel free to laugh at me, in the last week where I literally watched that movie, The Night Before Christmas, 4 times in a row. And that's all I watched that day. But so in that movie, they acknowledge that Aldovia is real. And the weird thing is that this movie also stars Vanessa Hudgens.
Mm-hmm.
So in Princess Switched Again, we have 3 doppelgangers, all played by Vanessa Hudgens. If we're building this cinematic universe, are you telling me there's now 4 doppelgangers?
I think there's 4 so far. I think this is going to continue to grow.
How many Vanessa Hudgens can we have? Basically, it's just a Vanessa Hudgens cinematic universe is what we're building.
Mm-hmm.
Or are we going to do a multiverse?
I'm down with either. I'm so down. All right, let's move forward. That's a lot of Netflix we've talked about. We also have a Hulu project that we should talk about called Happiest Season. We mentioned it in a previous episode of Streaming Wars when it was announced. Happiest Season is written and directed by Clea Duvall. It stars Kristen Stewart and Mackenzie Davis. And it is a lesbian holiday movie, which is so fun and rare, especially, definitely not on the Hallmark and Lifetimes. So this is a really exciting project. I was looking forward to it, which is an even rarer thing that I was looking forward to a holiday movie.
Literally, when this press release came out, I received an email from Yael excited, and I was like, ooh, she got excited about a holiday movie.
Yes. So the story is about this couple played by Kristen Stewart and Mackenzie Davis, and they go back to Mackenzie Davis's family for the holidays, but the family does not know that she's gay, and they do not know that Kristen Stewart is her partner. And then it, traditional rom-com holiday mischief ensues. I will say I really enjoyed this. The cast is incredible. Dan Levy, who everyone now knows from Schitt's Creek, is there, and he's great as always. I really enjoyed this movie. It does hit all of your, Christmas movie needs. I really liked that it was a little bit different. I still have a little issue with any holiday movie that has a character who doesn't like celebrating Christmas, and everyone goes, oh, but we'll fix that, because it's not a character flaw to not celebrate Christmas.
But is it though? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm totally the person that doesn't like when people are like, I don't like the holidays. I don't want to fix them, but I just feel like maybe they need a little bit more love. So I like to create a little bit extra magic for them. I don't need them to celebrate, but I just want to make them smile. That's all.
Just because we don't celebrate Christmas doesn't mean we aren't loved and happy. I'm just putting that out there. It may just mean we're Jewish.
Holidays and Christmas, we need to acknowledge that I always include Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and everything else within that. And Thanksgiving. That's all part of my holidays for me. I like the whole season.
What did you think of the Happiest season?
Happiest season. So I think it's a great story. I think it's like we were saying before, that this is a higher caliber of a film. I thought Mary Steenburgen was great. I think Dan Levy is the best part of the movie, and he was not given enough scenes and dialogue. Literally every second he was on screen, and belly laughter, so much joy. I had a problem with Kristen Stewart, though. I think it's not just her in this movie. I think I just am not a Kristen Stewart fan.
I have heard that from people. I will say I think this is her best performance. Which,
not saying a lot for me.
Right. I'm not saying that it was great. I'm saying this is her best performance.
All right. Well, there you go. I definitely think it's a film worth watching, and I really appreciate that we're getting holiday movies that aren't just a white couple, a white heterosexual couple.
Because they are white.
Yes.
I
was like, but we're finding more diversity. Like, we used to just get these very cliche rom-com, exactly what you would expect, like cardboard cutouts of each other. And this one breaks the mold in certain places, and I appreciate that. All right, next up on our list, back to Netflix, because they just seem to release a Christmas movie every 12 hours. The Christmas Chronicles 2. All right, so I loved the first Christmas Chronicles. Did you like the first one?
I honestly did not like the first one. That said, the plot of the second one, oh yes, here for it.
And I loved the first one, loved the second one so much more. It's the cinematography. That shot when they come out of like Santa's house and they see Santa's village for the first time, I need that in a painting somewhere in my apartment. That was just stunning. Like Santa's village in that over aerial cityscape. So gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of magic and adventure, and I really loved, that this one embodied all of that. I like that at the end of the first movie, we get the reveal of Mrs. Claus, and that this time she's there.
A huge part of it, to the point that they're like, so it should be called Mrs. Claus's Village, right? And I was just like, yes, Also, can we talk about Goldie Hawn's hair? It was amazing. They made her hair look like the top of a Christmas ornament. That made me so happy. I was like, I don't even know how you did this, but this is so cool.
Yeah, I really do feel like they invested a lot of time, effort, and money into this sequel, and they like elevated really nicely.
Yeah. Also, making elves get poisoned to where they become like rabid and vicious and maniacal was amazing.
Yeah, I feel like this could have been a really fun Halloween movie, but instead it's Christmas.
How did I know you were going to find a way to be like, the Christmas Chronicles, a movie about Santa Claus, should be made for a different holiday?
It should have been a Christmas movie, or a Halloween movie, sorry, and would have been so good.
Yes. But yeah, definitely. I would say so far out of what we've discussed between our two episodes, Jingle Jangle, A Christmas Journey, and The Christmas Chronicles 2 are probably my two strongest choices of this year. So if you're sitting here watching us going, you guys, this is too much Christmas content, like just tell me the ones I need to watch. Like those are the two I say so far, you have to watch those. What about you, Yael?
I agree. I'm just going to tack on Happiest season because I think that it's just so good. I mean, put aside that it's Christmas and put aside that it's Kristen Stewart. The rest of it is, I think it makes up for her, honestly.
And then if you float more in a reality TV show direction, there is Holiday Home Makeover on Netflix. Also, HBO Max has 12 Dates of Christmas, which I have not seen The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. I am imagining that this is the rom-com Christmas version of that. In which case, I love rom-coms. I'm a sucker for hopeless romance, and like put it in a castle where every room is a gorgeous Christmas-themed room. I was like, I should love this. I should be eating it up. I struggled, but I'm not a reality show person. So if that stuff is your jam, go check out 12 Dates of Christmas because you might actually really like it.
Yeah, I'm not a reality show person. And as we know, I'm not a Christmas person, but I have been hearing about the show since they were casting it, I believe, last Christmas. And I know that there's like such an audience. So if you are a Bachelor person, if you're part of a group that gets together every week to watch and drink your rosé and you know all the names of the contestants, this is your Christmas edition and you're gonna love it
for sure. And on that note, we will be back in a couple of weeks to do one final recap of holiday content where we don't just talk about the new releases but our favorite releases from the course of time that are available on streaming. If there is a Christmas movie or series that you think we should talk about or watch, leave it in a comment below because I need more things to watch or rewatch. Clearly I've watched The Night Before Christmas at least 12 times in the last month. So let's go.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us for this very Christmassy edition of Streaming Wars. Make sure you have subscribed to that hashtag show so you do not miss a moment, especially when we get back to things that are not Christmas related.
Aww.
See you next time.
Bye, guys.